Uganda is praised the world over for its generous refugee policy of accommodating over 1.5 million refugees, coming mainly from the neighbouring countries due to civil strife. The refugee policy, among others, provides for allocation of a piece of land measuring 30 by 30 feet to each family of refugees, on which they can erect temporary structures for accommodation, while waiting for humanitarian food assistance from UNHCR for survival. However, over time, this assistance has been dwindling.
The international community seems to be tired of contributing. World Food Programme is reducing its funding, and already it has cut 30% of its food ration per persons of concern on account of decreasing resources from the UN system.
For instance, by 2019, a typical family of 5 refugees received humanitarian aid equivalent to $85. But by the end of 2022, each family received only $30 per month. This amount is considerably too low to cater for food items and other essential needs for the entire family. As a result, levels of hunger and malnutrition amongst refugees has drastically increased. Against this background, Action Against Hunger, SEF, is implementing a blended strategy which combines humanitarian interventions with long-term development approaches to save lives and build the resilience of refugees and host communities in Uganda.
To respond to this crisis, in 2021, Action Against Hunger in Uganda began a campaign through which we are supporting refugees to access additional land which they are using to produce enough food to feed themselves so that they can reduce their reliance on humanitarian food assistance for survival. In this approach, we basically encourage Ugandan community members who own land around refugee settlements to join farmers groups and work together with refugees so that Ugandan members of the farming groups who own land can make that land available to the entire group so that they can farm together and produce enough food to feed their families, but also generate incomes to be able to procure other needs of their families. And in this model, what the groups do is they use 10% of their proceeds to compensate the owners of the land, and they remain with 90% of the proceeds. And in addition, we also connect them to high-end markets where they can sell their surplus and be able to maximize the return on their investment.
To make this approach successful, Action Against Hunger trains farmer groups on the best modern farming methods, as well as providing them with a startup kit that comprises high-quality drought-resistant seed varieties, tractor services, and access to water and irrigation technology that enable them to produce food throughout the year. In its first year of implementation, significant increases in food production and income levels were realized.
Using the block farming model as an approach to ensuring better resilience of refugees, Action Against Hunger supported 100 refugee families to access over 35 hectares of land donated to them by the host community in Adjumani district. These planted cassava, intercropped it with soybeans and maize, and after the cassava had matured, they harvested over 1,300 tons. 10% of the harvest was used to compensate the landlords, 40% was sold to get income for other basic needs within the homes, and 50% was used for household consumption. From the sale of cassava tubers and cuttings, the refugee households got 121 million Ugandan shillings, which is an equivalent of $31,000. This literally means that each refugee household in a space of 1 year got over $300.
As a result, the level of malnutrition amongst refugee children under 5 and pregnant mothers has considerably reduced due to the availability of sufficient food and income.
The shortage of food is reduced because the fresh cassava is there. You take cassava, you sell, you get another different type of food.
Some group members have also gone ahead to invest part of their money in other ventures to supplement their incomes.
The group kal magwana check ko ribeno wachata maga tien gwana ano chileng maramu million angwen yunge atam na yop art pe ka bodo ni center pa matung ka bora bodo chileng maramu million adek mere ka giti pa no kana na dia no kana na plaza ring pedang ma siana mudong adwa ka de chat ma tika konyo dano min community and matara da pe o pere gi center kan se chat ma ya bene tika konyo dano kan ma kinne na chela ra no chena mara kine piera boro jeremia chela.
To get these amazing results, Action Against Hunger only invested $15,000 US, which literally means that each dollar invested earned us $2.
Based on that success, in 2022, the desire to scale up the campaign was earmarked to the potential of 1,200 hectares of land. However, only 200 hectares were cultivated due to the high costs of tractor hire services and agriculture inputs.
Our ambition in 2023 is to support 20,000 refugee families to access 5,000 hectares of land, which they will use to be able to produce enough food to feed their families, but also generate sufficient incomes which will assist them to be able to procure health care for their children as well as education for their children. To achieve this goal, Action Against Hunger is actively fundraising for $5 million United States dollars, which will support us to be able to bring this much needed assistance to 20,000 refugee families in Uganda. And we do appeal to all donors and all people of goodwill to generously support this campaign and give towards this cause. We thank you in advance for your generosity.